of the metropolitan area. It consists only of members from the city of St. Louis. Now, the city of St. Louis consists of approximately 20% of the total population of the metropolitan area. For a metropolitan facility like the airport to be controlled by a subgroup is wrong. The metropolitan airport is just too important to us to be controlled by such a subset. Now, I realize that the city of St. Louis does have an equity position in the airport, and they should be compensated for that. But we need proportional regional input into the whole process, into the process of evaluating, into the process of directing studies to what should happen at Lambert and what should happen for our air transportation needs.
Mayor, why has it been so difficult to have this kind of consensus, this kind of committee, regional approach to this problem?
I guess we have to go back, but we are making progress. I think a few months ago, no one would have entertained the idea of having voting representation from any area outside of the city of St. Louis on the airport commission. Now we have proposals that maybe 5 members, so we are making progress, but it is so essential to the metropolitan area to have meaningful input, voting representation on this commission from the whole area.
Have the relations between your community and others in the county with the city of St. Louis become strained to the point now where there can be any meaningful dialogue? I go back to just the other night when Mayor Shamel was burned in effigy in your community. I mean, that is not going to help soothe the situation.
Well, you got to remember where we are here. We're talking about something that is really close to people. They're talking about taking people's homes, and it's more than just the financial aspect of it at the house. It's taking a community, and that's pretty serious. It's taking a home where people have nothing to say about it. For example, if somebody comes out and they tell you they're going to take your house, and you can't even vote for the leadership responsible, that's serious. In fact, it's wrong. Something's wrong with the system. The city of St. Louis has that power. They have the power of eminent domain over Bridgeton. And we do not have a vote in the situation. We cannot vote for the people responsible for this. So it's pretty serious stuff. As far as the burning, that was kind of unfortunate. That wasn't our intent. Hopefully we were going to hold him in hostage situation. That wasn't our intent, but people get a little excited about this, and it just happened. It was not our intent.
How much do they hold you responsible for what is happening there? Do they think you jumped into the fray too late, too early, or not enough?
We jumped in when we could. We were totally surprised on August 25th that their 4 options were announced, and we were totally surprised. We jumped in on August 25th. We believe that these options, and now it's down to one, the option F4, is not only bad for the city of Bridgeton, it's bad for the surrounding communities. And incidentally, surrounding communities are joining us. By surrounding, I mean those communities around the airport. We have formal letters of support, formal resolutions from communities like Berkeley, Woodson Terrace, St. Anne, St. John, Edmondson, even St. Charles has passed a resolution expressing concern about airport expansion. So we know that it's bad for surrounding communities. But in addition, we feel it's bad for the metropolitan area. The city of St. Louis really deserves a major airport. We cannot have a major airport at Lambert, in our opinion, because it is in the middle of a highly developed suburban environment. We're always going to have a problem. If this expansion proceeds, when it's completed, they say 5, it'll be 10 years. When it's completed, they'll be looking for another expansion and have just as many problems. You're in an area that's totally surrounded. We will always have problems. The city of St. Louis, the metropolitan area, deserves much more than that. We deserve a great airport.
Isn't that always the way of progress, though, that something must be displaced? I mean, something's got to give?
Hey, we are for progress, we're for prosperity, and this is an ideal opportunity. Let's step back, let's get regional input, and look what will be great for St. Louis in the future. This is not it, in our opinion.
But, Mayor, when the city of St. Louis and Lambert was built, I mean, that was the western edge of everything. And now, of course, as we know, everything's grown up around it. Where do we go? We got a river between us, and then that brings us back to Illinois, which, there was a big fight a few years ago about whether or not to put a regional airport in Illinois. So now what are you saying? Should we go to Illinois?
I'm glad you brought that up, Don. This is a real key issue. And we quote that so many times. We look back to the referendum that was held in the early 70s. Now, that referendum was held to keep Lambert here instead of going to Waterloo, but it was held prior to deregulation. It was held prior to the hub concept, prior to TWA moving to St. Louis. The environment's completely different. What was happening in the early 70s doesn't apply today. So unfortunately, we didn't have the foresight. We talk about the property around Lambert. We didn't have the foresight to buy additional property. And now we have to look at the situation the way it is. What we have to do is go back and examine our options. Now, the Airport Commission did bring on a consultant, a fine consulting firm, and they directed the consultants to, tell us what we need to do. But unfortunately, and it appears that the consultant had limitations placed on them because they looked at only 27 options, looked at 27 options seriously. Those 27 options only considered Lambert. Why wasn't one of those options to look at Illinois? Why wasn't one of those options to look at a regional approach, including Scott? We're paying, when I say we, the metropolitan area, we're paying this consultant $1.5 million. And he is the one. They are the ones that should really address this, what we should do. We have ideas, but the consultants, when they looked at the Lambert situation, they should have considered all options. I'm afraid they didn't.
If we can try to personalize this just a little bit.
Certainly.
I think it boils down to people, doesn't it? People being affected by whatever happens. Tell us something of the emotional and financial strain on the people in these 915 homes that would be affected if we go through with the 4F plan.
Okay, first of all, when we talk about homes and housing, and I've been approached about what the city will lose, what we're really talking about is losing a community. There's a difference, and we have a great community. There's a lot of great communities, but we're talking about church associations, school associations, and so on and so on. You said 915 homes. We're not sure of that. We have a technical group looking at it. They're saying 7,000. And the truth is, it's between 900 and 7,000. My opinion, we're talking about 2,000 to 3,000 homes. And we do not have firm numbers. The airport indicated that, hey, wait till the middle of October. We'll release information. Well, I went to those meetings yesterday. There was no information, new information about homes. They say 900 to 1,000. Where are they? Apparently, they drew some noise contours, and if you're on this side of the line, you're a candidate for buyout. If you're outside, you're not. And you can't do it that way. You have to take whole streets. You don't stop at the end of the contour. So we feel, and we have reason to feel, that the 900 is low. We're talking about 2,000 to 3,000 homes. Okay, now, as far as the economics of it, if you want to sell your house, if you're in the market and you want to sell your house, and the airport is the buyer, that's tremendous. You will do all right because they will give you market value. They'll give you market value and perhaps give you a few dollars for moving and perhaps give you a loan consideration. It'll be nice for your situation. But if you do not want to sell your house, you are not a willing seller, then there is a problem because let's face it, market value, market price depends on a willing seller. It depends on a willing buyer. In the situation where they're taking homes, there is no willing seller. It's not a fair situation. If you own your home and you have it fixed, your yard, you have your drapes, you have your home the way you want it, it's not fair to come in and say, hey, market price is such and such. We'll give you this. You have to go out and start over.
Quickly, Mr. Bowers, what do you, as the mayor of Bridgeton, intend to do about this? What is your next step? What do you do?
We are going to oppose. We are going to oppose F4, and there's really 4 ways we can do it, and we're in the process of doing that. First, we can oppose it on the funding. The funding is not assured. Right now, of course, they had the head tax legislation in front of Congress. We will oppose that. Number 2, there will be an environmental impact study, and that will take 2 years. We'll have several opportunities to provide input into that environmental impact statement. Third, there's the FAA. FAA has to approve this, and we will be heard. We'll have our opportunities to state our opinions. And fourth, there is public opinion, and I think we're making some progress there.
In fact, you do have some time. You said you have to step back. Our segment is over, but you said you have to step back and you need time. You do have some time.
2 years.
Okay.
2 years. Well, when I say step back and take some time, that's what we should do as a metropolitan area. Because we really need to look at this. St. Louis really stands an opportunity. There's an opportunity to really do something that's going to be right and lasting. This is not it.
On that note, we'll say thank you very much, Mayor of Bridgeton, Conrad Bowers.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure we'll see you in the news over the next 2 years or so.
Okay,
Thank you so much. Still ahead, how much do our kids know when they graduate from college? One study says not much. We'll talk about that when we come back.